All right, guys, let's get this party started. So I saw a Chud Logic video in my stream, and it was a fancy title that I forget. And also, I can't tell you the title because then you'll watch his coverage instead of mine, and I can't have that. But he found this like a really like interview between this person, this I guess is a trans woman, and the girl Spencer that is currently living in MamaMax's house. That is the main werewolf girl, we'll call her. You know, beginning of the stream, beginning of the video. Can't get too crazy. Anyway, it's about the guy, Camden Gerard Davis, which I think at this point has a great defamation suit if he wanted to push for that. And we're waiting for the Mutahar video from Tuesday. It's a couple of days. It's currently Sunday. So listen, the content gods have given us this content to talk about. Let's go.
All right, and we are live.
All right.
Awesome.
Hi, everybody.
I'm
Comrade Red Pagan, and I'm here with Spencer.
Yeah, I'll turn myself down a little bit. Comrade Red Pagan. Oh man, that's incredible. I love it.
Spencer is a survivor of
alleged, sure,
CSA, and this has been a topic that I've been wanting to discuss for some time now, and it's been a topic that we've discussed with other situations in the past. And so I'm not going to spend too much time babbling here, but I do.
Hey, all I do is babble.
Because I do want to give Spencer the time to talk about her experience with everything and just discuss her story. So, yeah, Spencer, take it away.
I think the worst part of this whole thing is that, to my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, this has never gone to the police. You know, they went to the police and they were like, oh, it's the wrong jurisdiction. You have to report it somewhere else. And they just kind of stopped. That's what we know. It's like, oh, okay. And again, yeah, there can be issues with the police system, but you still have to go to them and start there. Because, I mean, if you there's more issues with the YouTube vigilante system than there are with the police. I'll tell you that much.
I guess what best places is just kind of start from the beginning.
All right.
All right. Well, I was born on March 27th at 4:07 p.m. I don't know if that's true.
I guess I can go a little bit in my childhood too, because that is somewhat pertinent.
So I was a really big fan of Twilight, and I thought it was a documentary.
So when my mother had me, she pretty much just kind of gave me these other people. They were like kind of paying for a car and whatnot. There were like 5 possible dudes that could have been my dad.
Good start.
One day, my dad.
What did you? Okay.
Dad's mom gets a call.
Just put all their cum in a cauldron and just kind of YOLO that one up. What's going on with that?
Like, hey, your son needs to sign away his rights to his kid. And she's like, what kid? My dad's like, what kid? So, you know, they went and visited me and everything, and
I'm assuming she lives in a trailer too. Listen, some of the best women I've been with have been in trailers. Okay. Sorry.
The people that my mom had given me to were kind of like drugging me, giving me shit that would keep me asleep. First time I was ever awake when my dad's family visited me, I projectile vomited on my grandma.
Wow.
Oh my.
And anytime someone would pick me up, I would stiffen up, like just straight as a board. So yeah, I was kind of neglected by those people. 15 months, my dad's family got custody of me, and I was raised by my great.
So wait, your dad's side of the family got a custody of you? That's weird. Your mom must not be great if the dad didn't even know about you, and then the second they found out, she basically lost custody. It's kind of rough, but okay.
Grandparents. Great grandmother passed when I was 9. I stayed with my great grandfather for 2 more years and moved in with my dad and my stepmom, and from there I was kind of just tossed from family member to family member. And so I grew up with this feeling of, oh well, nobody really wants me. I'm just kind of.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, this person, yeah, okay, that's
fair. Okay, there you go. Take care of her. I'm like that dog that someone's just like, oh well, you're shitting on the carpet, you're out. Yeah. So it was. I had a lot of rejection trauma, and my family didn't fully understand. They didn't know I needed therapy for losing my great grandmother, and
Did you go to therapy? I wonder.
It's
like a serious question. I mean, I think it's good to go to a therapist so that a therapist can tell you if you actually have trauma or not. I think we throw that word around. She might. I'm not saying she doesn't. I'm just also saying that I feel like that's something a therapist should really be able to diagnose. And that question isn't really even meant to be answered by her, because I don't really care what her answer is, because we don't know if it's the truth or not. It's more of like you should sit with that question for yourself and answer it honestly with yourself. I don't really, convincing me isn't the goal here.
We had mental issues that we didn't know about, because I'm also bipolar.
Okay. Is that diagnosed as well, or is that like an assumption?
And around 2015, I made it back to my dad and my stepmom, and finished out that school year, went to summer school, started a new school year, and one of the girls that I had met in summer school had introduced me to this dude named, he went by Quinn, and it was spelled with a C.
Oh, Michael Quinn, dude. I hate that guy.
C. I don't know what it was with him always using C's, but
I don't even know if that's a thing.
But his name was Quinn. And she was like, "Oh yeah, he's my fiance and everything."
Cool.
She's 16.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
And I was like, at the time, I was like, "Oh,
Weird.
It's not weird. He's just 18. It's whatever."
Oh, well, I mean, it's weird that their fiance is at 18 and 16, but 18 and 16 is not a very weird age gap.
And eventually, things just, I guess my mental state just started deteriorating a little bit. I had been getting into a lot of fights with my family.
What is the 18 and 16? Oh, like just is that the vampire?
Camden or Quinn at the time.
Okay, so
he just kind of, there was one thing. He was like, "Oh, I knew you in a past life."
Okay.
And so
wait, he was 18 and you were like 16 and he was engaged? That sounds like the perfect guy to try to be with. Yeah.
So like really like love bombing and oh my gosh, yes, I knew you then. We were destined to meet again.
Okay.
And
I mean, okay. He's trying to fuck you, it sounds like.
And as things started getting worse with my family, I would like sneak out of my bedroom at night and go to the bathroom to talk on the phone with him.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're an emotionally vulnerable person because you have a bad family that doesn't take care of you, and then you fell for level 0 Riz from a fuckboy. So far, that's what that sounds like.
Because I shared a room with my sister, and there was a baby monitor in there.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so I would...
Why, you couldn't monitor the baby? What the hell?
Like, sneak off to the bathroom and call him and everything. He had me, like...
Okay.
There was one point he told me there was like demons in the house and I had to draw sigils to protect myself. And
did he actually believe that? Like, is he also just a fucking weirdo, or like, you know what I mean? Or does he actually believe that, or is he using that as a manipulation tactic? Because some people are fucking crazy, bro.
I had to cut myself and use the blood and put it in every corner of every room.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like your family is a bigger issue here, because like if this ever happened to like a kid that I had, they wouldn't fall for it because they would have loving parents. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. So I ended up doing it to my tongue because I was like, that's going to heal the fastest.
What? Okay, sure. I don't even know if I believe that you cut your tongue.
So, I was just doing shit.
I don't even think your body like lets you hurt your tongue. It's weird.
Like that. Okay, I eventually got in trouble at school.
Does your tongue heal the fastest? Is that even true? Does your tongue heal the fastest? Oh, I guess it does. I just don't know if I believe that she cut her tongue.
And
okay.
My stepmom and I had gotten into a physical altercation. And after that,
stuff, sister.
I was like, no, I got to get the fuck out. And so I ran off to a friend's house, got an Uber, and...
You ran to the friend's house and then got an Uber? I would have done the opposite, to be honest with you, but that's just me.
Went to Carrie, that's the girl that was his fiance.
2015 super chatted $2. Papa, is it transphobic to call someone trans ugly?
Yes, it is. And if you ever ask me that again, I will ban you.
Went to her place.
Fuck, I made that.
And that wasn't like when I officially ran away. I like was trying to, but I couldn't really get anywhere. And eventually, they figured out that I was at a McDonald's, and the
Same.
And
Same.
my dad came and got me.
Okay.
That Friday.
Maybe you should call the cops on your stepmom for hitting you instead of this guy that convinced you that you were Bella Swan.
I snuck out of the house that morning and like hauled ass to the high school. My friend got me an Uber to the megabus station in Dallas, and I was out of state that night.
Crazy.
On my way to Georgia, I got sexually assaulted.
That's terrible.
And then I managed to get my ass on another bus, made it to Memphis, and stayed with a dude that actually was really nice to me. Like, he was like,
how did you meet this other guy?
"You're just like my daughter."
That's weird. That's not nice. That's weird. Why are you having so many weird interactions with people? Well, yeah, your bad family, got it.
So it was just like, oh, well, you know, you can shower here. I've got to go to work. You're chill to watch whatever, eat whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it was just...
Is this guy also sexually assault you? Because this guy sounds like he would be a rapist. No offense to this guy, but also what? Who is this guy?
He's a really, really nice man. I'm lucky that I met him because I don't know what would have happened to me if I didn't have somewhere to go.
Okay.
I ended up...
Who the fuck is this guy that you just... Some older man that said, what? Who is this random guy? What?
Sorry, just to backtrack a little bit, because you were traveling to Georgia, because you were living in, I believe, like Louisiana or someplace at the time?
Texas,
okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm from, like, DFW, Texas, born and raised.
Why is that funny?
Yeah.
I don't get the joke, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess I'm probably just not funny, personally.
Texas is party.
Yeah.
Okay.
But after about a week, Camden Quinn got this one girl in Australia to buy my bus ticket from Tennessee to Georgia. And once I made it there, he got an Uber and came and picked me up. And from the moment we stepped out of the car and the Uber pulled off, he pulled the screen out of his window, went into the house, and snuck me into it.
Okay.
Come to find out now that after the fact, he was also using that window when he still lived with his mom to sneak other people in.
Oh, who would have expected that? You think that you were the first girl that was snuck in? This guy had a strategy already.
Yeah.
So
I thought I was special. Why? Your parents didn't like you very much. Why would you think you were special? That was mean. I'm sorry. That was a little too much. But I'm sorry. I hope that you don't ever watch my video. But yeah, guys suck, dude. Honestly, guys are pieces of shit. They are fuckboys. Like, I used to be a fuckboy too. Oh, Bobby, go, you're fat. Shut up. Just leave me alone. You're 15. Okay? Fat girls need love too.
Yeah, because he was doing all this out of his mom's house, basically, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Is this guy she's talking about the vampire?
Super chatted $1.99. Good morning, Papa. Thanks for being great.
Thank you so
Smile.
much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I do, genuinely. I'm a little tired, so if I sound unenthusiastic, it's because of that.
So, like, when he first started all of this, it was under his mother's roof. Like, oh my God, like, his brother saw me. His brother knows I was there, but his mom had no fucking clue that I was there.
Stop saying first time enjoying the stream. You fucking assholes.
And it wasn't an issue.
10th stream, first time enjoying.
Of food going missing because he starved me sometimes anyways.
Yeah, you look like it. Me too. Sorry. What?
There was a lot of sexual abuse and physical abuse that would go on. He would physically abuse me under the guise...
Who are we talking about? Are we talking about the vampire?
Of training me to protect myself.
What? What does that mean?
He also, like, had me on Whisper trying to find random men to sleep with, and that never actually happened, but there was one dude that we got into contact with that wanted his... I'm really sorry, this is going to get really graphic descriptively. He wanted someone to quite literally pop his ball sacks with their bare hands.
Oh my God.
Wow, did you have bare hands?
And yeah, he actually came out, and we went to the end of the neighborhood. It was like a 2-minute walk from his house to this gazebo. He sat in the gazebo while I had to squeeze this dude's balls. And it was really weird. And 16-year-old me was trying really hard not to laugh because it was like, oh, what the fuck am I doing here? We got like $70 from that he was supposed to buy his food with, but then I don't know what he ever did with the money.
Yeah.
So what was she saying, that she was like a prostitute kind of at some point?
Yeah. Because he was like trying to make me sleep with men, I was like, I thought I was in a relationship with him. I had Stockholm syndrome because the whole thing was like, oh yeah, you're my girlfriend, you're my wife. Like, it was bad Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He's like, oh yeah, sleep.
I would go to an actual therapist instead of self-diagnosing
with all these men. I'm like, no, that's me cheating. I'm not okay with that. And that's when he told me that Leviathans were coming for me and that I had to get out of the house because I wasn't going to be safe. And I have to go into foster care and I can't come back to Texas because if I do, my family will physically abuse me. Like, this is all the shit that he told.
Sounds like he was trying to get her out of the house.
Told me. So I called 911. Police officer came out, took my statement. And then
your statement for what?
Camden had walked out to the gazebo and.
Okay, so this is supposed to be Camden, the guy that was already marrying the fiance of another girl. Wait, what happened to that relationship? Wasn't she? If this is Camden, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from how I'm hearing the story, if this was Camden, wasn't she dating another girl? This wasn't Camden the fiance? Am I missing something? Because this so far is either I'm dumb as fuck or I'm missing something or both. Do I have the story right so far as she's told it?
Joseph Albano became a member.
Hey, thank you so much for the small guy, brother. I appreciate that. My understanding was like she first met this Camden guy that was engaged to their friend at 16, and then now he's not. Maybe that's a different guy. Okay, whatever.
Sat there with us, and he was like, "Yeah, I would bring her food and everything. She's just this homeless chick that would wander the neighborhood."
Okay.
Trying to make it seem like there was nothing there. And yeah, after that, I went into foster care.
Okay.
A couple months after that, he broke the relationship off with myself and another girl. It's Kai. He broke things off with us, and
so you guys were in a polyamorous relationship? Like, is that what you're saying?
Then I got shipped off to a group home, shipped off back to Texas, and I stayed in the cult online until.
What the fuck is this?
When was it?
I can pick any weapon I want.
I think it was 4th of July 2017.
Weird.
Okay. Yeah, that's when I officially left. And yeah, I wouldn't have been as vocal about this if it wasn't for him after the fact having Carrie, the girl that introduced me to him in the first place, threatening my sister who was 4.
Oh my God.
What? Yeah, like she was like, yeah, so I know where she lives. I know where her family lives. And if she doesn't stop this, because I was trying to contact the most recent, or one of the 2 most recent that spoke out, Ishmael. If she doesn't stop trying to contact her family, I'll be seeing her. And she put my little sister's name and said very soon.
Do you have like text messages that we could see for this or anything like that? Does she have text messages?
Oh my God.
So that was the night that I broke down and told my family everything. And
okay, and what did they do?
Yeah, contacted Trafficking 911, and they took my report. I don't even know if they ever filed it. I keep trying to email them, and they've emailed Max, but they won't email me back. They were like, "Oh, well, we can't give you that information because you don't have the victim's consent." So why
didn't you stop down at the police department?
As the victim, am asking, and they're ignoring me.
And they're just stalling, and you just kind of.
But I mean, if they're responding to Max and not you, I feel like you're just doing something wrong. But okay,
road blocking you.
Sure, I'm sure it's a big conspiracy.
They didn't file that report. That is a crime in and of itself.
Right.
So then, why don't you just go down to the old office, the old police station, and kind of figure that one out? And do you have any text messages or anything? Something.
Especially because it is a federal crime, being that Camden lured me from Texas to Georgia.
Yeah, that's a felony.
He lured you? I felt like the story didn't insinuate that, really. Lured? What do you mean by... I feel like when you say lured, there's a difference between, like, going there to live with him versus being lured. Okay, whatever. I don't...
Because that, you
sure.
know, you're crossing
state go to the police. Get him arrested. I don't care.
Lines. And, you know, essentially was running what was, you know, a human trafficking ring. You know?
Well, so far, we don't have any human trafficking ring. So far, we have a bunch of fucking uneducated... unfortunately, individuals that have shitty family and homes that don't really care about them, that are going to meet up with a weird fuckboy vampire. Like, where's the trafficking part? He's a cringe fuckboy, but like so far, and again, go to the police. Like, if he is a bad guy, yeah, take care, get rid of this guy, of course, you know. But so far, like, where's the trafficking part? You know, sounds like you ran away from home to be with some polyamorous guy.
And you know, that's just the start of like the list of crimes that are involved here. You know, we obviously the, you know, child sexual abuse and everything else. Like,
I mean, you were 16 and he was 18. I don't really know if that would be considered child sexual abuse. Maybe I'm wrong, but okay. That's usually not considered an illegal age range, but what do I know?
The collection of child pornography and everything. Like, there is a video of me floating around on the internet when I was 16.
Oh my God.
Of Camden with me.
Oh,
and that is floating around because he tried selling it to this dude that never sent him the money.
Yeah.
Always get the money first, guys.
Yeah. And
you can't trust people who are attracted to 16-year-olds to pay up. You got to make sure you get the money first.
And on top of that, other members like Ishmael, he solicited nudes from under the guise of being a witch named Giamara.
Why would that? Oh, sorry. Why would that tactic work? I really want to get nudes from this girl. What should I do? I'm gonna pretend to be a witch named Giamara. And I will be the gym leader of the 8th Pokemon gym.
And most recently, we've learned that he's also forced people into taking drugs.
Crazy.
Like, Ellie is allergic to weed, like, and he was like, oh, well, then you just need to smoke more of it because it'll get rid of your allergy.
Can you be allergic to weed? I'll look that up. Can you be to weed? Oh, I guess it is rare, but okay.
Yeah, that's not how it works. I actually have friends that are also allergic to it, and that
sounds kind of cringe. Like, what? How are you allergic to weed?
That's not how that works.
Nerd alert.
No.
Yeah, no. Like, it would be different if it was like a medical team and they're like, okay, well, we're studying this and this is what we've seen to work. But no, this is just an idiot saying something.
Yeah.
Actually, he's a vampire god, so maybe you should check yourself.
He would also try and force the survivor, going by the alias of Esther. He was trying to force her into doing shrooms every day before she'd go to work.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And like, it's one thing if someone is consensually microdosing for a shift, but forcing someone to take shrooms, a bunch of them, and then go work a fucking...
Yeah, so far we got a guy a fuckboy polyamorous guy that does drugs. Okay.
8-hour shift to pay for your food and your video games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then...
What games did he play? Anything good? Or?
And then during this time that you were...
I mean, listen, for all we know, this could all be true, and these people are just fucking dog shit at telling their story, which would make sense because they come from neglectful homes and they don't exactly have the most credibility. I mean, those would be the people to prey on the most, right? Individuals that come from like not loving homes that aren't the most credible, right? So it's possible. It's just like very hard to believe so far. And the way that they're telling the story doesn't really suggest that they were groomed, but they could have been. I'm not trying to say it didn't happen. It's just this entire thing is rough, and you'd think that Max would be able to direct this in a positive way, but
that you were in the cult and everything. I believe.
How was it a cult? Like, what happened in this? It sounds like you get like, what was the cult aspect of this?
That I think it was in Max's.
Did, like, they all live together, or what is that?
Video, or that one of you had mentioned that you had become pregnant at least once.
Damn.
So I had originally gotten pregnant from the assault in Little Rock, Arkansas. Camden beat me until I miscarried that.
Wow, that's
and
terrible.
then
Did you go to the police for that?
he impregnated me 2 more times.
So he was the one who got you pregnant?
And then beat me, gave me a bunch of vitamin C, tried to make me over intake cinnamon for those. And then the last pregnancy, I think he had gotten me pregnant either right before he made me go into foster care or the night that I got to my foster parents, because he got an Uber and assaulted me.
Super chatted $4.99. 987th time catching the stream.
Very nice.
Love the content.
Appreciate
Goon
it.
till the heat death of the universe, Pappy Tummy.
Thank you. Okay.
Outside of their house.
Oh my god.
Because he made me like sneak out and go downstairs to the back to see him.
Okay.
And when I heard that I was being sent from my foster parents to a group home about 2 hours away, he made me figure out a way to get to his house, and then he started beating me. And when he saw me trying to protect my stomach, because I guess subconsciously I was just like, no, I was like 3 months along at that point, he just wailed on me, and I lost that last one as well.
Okay, so here's one thing I'm having a little bit of trouble with. And again, these might be real stories. I'm not trying to diminish anything. But you're saying that you lived in a group home setting, and he was, like, violently beating you to the point where, like, you were miscarrying, and they didn't notice that you were bruised up and report that? And listen, I understand group homes can be, like, abusive in and of themselves and neglectful. I get that. But I do have a little bit of a hard time believing that. That, like, my understanding is that there's supposed to be, like, a wellness person there that would kind of keep tabs on that. I mean, it might be true. I'm just saying I find it a little bit difficult to believe, but it could be true. I'm just kind of exploring, I guess.
So those are
Hey,
4
morning.
pregnancies of mine, at least, that were terminated by his hand.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So
Where does the vampire stuff come into play?
So about how old were you when you finally got out of the cult?
How was it a cult? Like, how was it a cult? Like, I don't understand that. Because so far we haven't even like, if all this is true, he's an abusive person. It's still not a cult, and he's still not a but from what I've heard, it doesn't seem like a cult grooming. It seems like a 18-year-old abusive piece of shit fuckboy. That's fucking a bunch of girls. So
I was
I could have swore she just said it was a group home.
17. I was about to be 18, and I had only...
No, I think she said he beat her outside the group. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that he beat her at the group home. What I'm saying is that if he's beating her so bad that she's miscarrying, I imagine that there would be visible signs of it. And so I would imagine that you would be able to... visible signs enough for them to report that as some kind of, like, abuse that's going on. And I imagine they might want to report it because they wouldn't want to take the blame for it, to be like, oh, that happened outside of our house. That's what I'm saying. That's just something to think about.
Stayed that long because of him assaulting Kayla, both physically and sexually. Like that. I stayed only to collect...
I'm not trying to be, like, too pushy, but, like, I feel like it's a relevant question. What does it mean to her when he sexually assaults people? And I'm not trying to be mean about that. I just wonder what does that mean? Like, how does he sexually assault these people? That he seems to be, like, for instance, they seems to be that there are times where she claims that he sexually assaults her, and there's times where they have consensual sex, and that can still be possible. You can assault somebody you're in a relationship with. But I just feel like those kind of details are kind of necessary, considering how severe the claims are. And the nature of it. And if you're like, well, she shouldn't have to tell us, and I'd be like, yeah, she shouldn't have. She should have went to the police and left this off the internet. But since you're kind of asking for this to be part of the court of public opinion, these are kind of questions that we are obviously going to ask. So
evidence at that point, and tried to get as many people on my side to get them out as I could. But he lured a lot of them back in with the whole, oh, well, you're going to lose your supernatural powers if you leave.
What?
Yeah.
So all these kids were like, oh, no, I want to stay a supernatural being. And also, this is like my family. Why would I leave?
How old were these supposed people?
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but did this cult like have a specific name or anything like that, or?
Yeah, it was called the Cool Kids Cult with all K's. It was fucking awesome, brother.
It's had many names.
Well, not brother. You know.
When I was in it, we just called ourselves the Daemons. Then it became Guild of Divinity and something Eon, whatever.
Aeon Flux, yeah.
I can't remember what most recently they're going by, or most recent that we know of at least. But it's had multiple names, and it's to the point where like I'm pretty sure he's got his wives running everything now, and he's only really talking to people that he wants close, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's weird. It's kind of, this is going to sound really ironic, but in a way it kind of sounds a lot like, you know, those polygamist, like Mormon fundamentalist cults that we hear about every once in a while.
Sure.
You know,
real.
except, you know, in this case, he's, you know, doing this under the guise of essentially being like what, a werewolf god or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically religion, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you know, some sort of weird, like, you know, infusion of different things. And,
Sure.
you know, as somebody that practices like paganism, you know, because, you know, I practice Norse paganism.
Why?
And it's one of those things where it's like when somebody
the fuck does that even mean? You practice Norse paganism?
essentially uses like these different figures and stuff like that, and tries to essentially bring the new age movement, you know, religious movement, you know, into their predatory behavior, and or just in general any sort of toxic behavior, whether it's you know, being you know a racist. Yeah.
What, a racist? What the fuck? I'm so confused. What the fuck are you yapping about?
It's one of those things where it's like that's where I get really irritated, because it's like,
yeah, me too. Racism is not good, guys. Racism is not a good thing.
You know, because there's what
racism? I like no, thank you.
To call cultural appropriation, which is
what the fuck are you talking about?
You know, people that that
what?
Yeah, that appropriate the culture of other ethnicities and race.
What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Why talking about cults? Why the fuck are you talking about cultural appropriation? Oh, because it has the word cult. Oh, because the cultural. Oh god, it makes perfect sense. What the fuck are you yapping about? Were you just looking for an opportunity to let us know you're woke? Like, I don't get it. It's like it's like a little kid that needs to tell you about trains. They gotta bring it up in a conversation.
Racial diversity, and then there's people.
Oh, what's your favorite movie? Oh, How to Train Your Dragon. Oh, you know what's interesting? I love trains. Oh, okay.
And then there's religious appropriation, in which people,
sure.
you know, try to use different religious themes and stuff like that for their own benefit, or the or their own, you know, deviant practices. And in this case, this is one of those things that is, you know, that is also a big issue right there, because it's like when you start trying to use,
honestly, yeah,
you know, because essentially, you know, that whole thing of, you know, the Leviathan's coming to get you sort of stuff.
What the fuck is the Leviathan coming to get you?
That is literally no different than how, you know, the Christian
How to Groom Your Dragon. What the fuck?
Fundamentalists.
Isn't a Leviathan a big snake?
Just, you know, try to.
He also.
Oh, he's talking about his penis. Now I get it.
Pulled a lot of his shit from Christianity itself.
Yeah.
Oh, why didn't you say that earlier? Listen, I know that's a weird thing to say, but like when I say like, well, how come you didn't bring that up earlier? The reason I say that, again, this could all be true. I'm not trying to say that it's not true. This is very speculative. Again, should have went to the police instead of coming to the internet for people to speculate about this. But you have somebody sitting here feeding her additional information, and then it seems like her story updates to include that information. So it's, you know, it's like, why wouldn't you just say like, hey, yeah, it was like a cult. It was almost like a religious Mormon thing. And then all of a sudden this person says that, though. And it's like, yeah, it was like Christianity. And it was like, maybe it is true. Maybe they forgot, or maybe they're just making it up as they go. I don't know. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, like the whole he made up this whole lore where there were multiple Adams and multiple Eves, and it was the Adams that ate the apples. And so God told all the different races to go this direction, you go that direction, you hear a noise, you don't look back. And that there was some Avatar blue people that existed, and the reason they don't exist now is because they were the ones that looked back.
God, it's just making it up as he kind of goes along. And I'm going to take a wild guess and say that he wasn't just forcing other people to, you know, take...
Who the fuck would believe any of this? I don't really understand.
Drugs. I'm assuming that he was probably on some strong...
Like, how come we haven't even gotten, like, to age ranges of anything? How come you weren't like, yeah, there was this one girl in this cult that I knew. I imagine you would know them if they were in a cult that was, like, fucking 12 or... Like, how was it a cult? Like, what was it happening? Because you said that he would sneak you into his house through his screen window. Like, if it's a cult, wouldn't you all live there? Am I being too stringent on what a cult is, or I mean too specific? Like, am I the problem? I'm just some of this is confusing to me.
Stuff or something too, because
surprisingly, no. What I've heard is he kept weed in the house, but nobody was allowed to smoke unless he was smoking. He may do psychedelics, but I know 2 of the people associated with him are on coke, and that one of the other members, had she not left, probably would have been forced to take it. But yeah, I don't know if there's like opiates at play or anything.
How come it's so easy for these members to leave this supposed cult? Isn't one of the things about cults that you can't leave it or else you get hurt? How come people are just leaving the cult in and out? Listen, I'm sorry I'm like poking a little hole. I'm just genuinely curious. You're calling this a cult. So, like, how could you just decide you're not part of this supposed cult anymore? And you're like, oh, I'm just moving on. Okay.
But yeah. I would hope not.
Yeah, and then I guess the other thing, too, would be, like, do you think, like, he also might have just some mental illness, or is it just... Do you think he's just that far into his, you know, into his predatory, toxic, deviant behavior that, you know...
Could be both.
I really don't know. All of us survivors, like, every week, we're trying to ask ourselves, did he really believe this? And, you know, some of us thinks it's a mix of yes and no, that maybe, yes, he believes some of it, but...
Yeah, that is an issue. She said, from what I heard, how come this isn't like a first-hand thing? Like, what are you hearing from people? It seems like a poorly run cult here, okay?
The rest of it, he knows he's just pulling it out of his own ass. Yeah. Like, and he sits there and, the best way I can describe it is like, if you saw someone who is faking having dissociative identity disorder. Oh. Like, he would act like, oh, well, now God has possessed me and God is talking through me. Oh, now I'm the Archangel Michael. Oh, I'm this Archangel. I'm Ezekiel. Now I'm Lucifer. Like,
it sounds like he's just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And he would sit there and, like, play each of their personalities into something that we liked. Like, my favorite was Lucifer because he was just a flamboyant gay gay character. Yeah, I was just like, yeah, Lucy, that's my bitch.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he would use the relationships we would have with these quote unquote other beings against us as well. Wow. It absolutely, like, screwed with us figuring out that it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like he's on drugs. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So, I think you already covered it early on in your story, but how did he, like, initially, like, lure you in? Like, and yeah, I guess we'll just start.
I don't think that she covered it. It sounded like, hey, I met this guy that was engaged to a friend of mine, so I ran away to be with him. There wasn't really anything else, but okay.
That question.
So, around the time when like I first started talking to him and everything.
Yeah, so far we have a mentally ill person being in a polyamorous relationship. Like, how unique.
It was oh, I knew you in a past life, you know, we were meant to find each other again. And then
that's all it took.
It just, I don't even know. He just got to me under my skin, and when I got into the fight with my family, he was like, oh, well, your family's going to have you arrested and you're going to be locked up for a few years if you don't run away to me.
This doesn't really, I don't know if this necessarily sounds like grooming. It just sounds like he basically showed interest in you. That's pretty much it. Yeah, he said we met in a past life. Okay. Like, you realize grooming is like a very intense, methodical process of setting somebody up for some kind of exploitation, right? Like, you know, I guess the language of like, oh, you better get out of there. Your family might call the cops on you. But also they might have, I don't know. It didn't really seem like he had to groom you. You were just like a vulnerable person that he was just like, oh, I want to fuck you. And you're like, all right, I'll go. I don't want to be with my family because they're neglectful and abusive.
God.
So it was a very split-minute decision when I first attempted, and then the second attempt was like, oh, you need to. He had me make this whole video and post it on YouTube, acting like I was actually going to commit suicide.
What?
Oh my God.
What? Where the fuck did this conversation go?
Like, it was oh, I'm sorry to these people.
She got caught by the cops trying to run the first time? Oh, okay.
And I'm sorry I'm not good enough for, I think it was like, sorry, I'm not good enough for my family or whatever.
Why? Wait. Why did he have you make a YouTube video? Why would he have you make a YouTube video about it? Where does the YouTube come into play? Can you show us that YouTube video as like proof?
Fuck.
Something?
It was just, yeah. So that's another reason why my family thought I was dead.
Yeah, that I was just gonna say.
Did your family watch the YouTube video? How did they find out about it?
It sounds like trying to make your family think that you had died, and that just so that he could entrap you and, you know, essentially hold you hostage.
Wouldn't they call the cops if they thought you were dead? Can you show us that?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, that.
Harrick's super chatted
like
$5. Hey Papa, about my 7th time catching a stream. Mutu and Nicholas Diorio both plan on making separate videos on MamaMax. Hope you watch them.
About that. Yeah, I might watch them. I might watch one of them. I might watch both of them, dude. This is so bizarre.
Yeah, that definitely tracks for cultish behavior. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
From my experiences with cults, that definitely tracks.
Yeah, sociopathic behavior.
Yep. Sociopathic. That's what I was thinking.
As far as like
exactly.
the cult goes, like you said that you guys have discussed a lot of different things since then about, you know, whether or not he truly believes in a lot of this stuff, but and you've kind of gone over some of the beliefs that were kind of involved
final
with the
super
cult.
chatted $2. Thanks for getting me into Vamp Survivors Master Gut.
Hey, no problem, brother. It's a good game. I like that you like it.
Like customs and rituals that were done while within the cult.
I guess rape, right? He would constantly do that, apparently. I guess that was a custom for him or something. I'm not trying to be crude. I'm just saying, I don't know.
There was a lot of times where he would tell other members that he needed to see pictures and videos of their bodies to see how the transformation is going.
Sounds very trans-inclusive.
He would have us cut ourselves and use the blood for quote-unquote sigils and rituals or whatever.
Okay. Weird.
I'm trying to think what else. There was a lot of times he would tell us like, oh yeah, you can't eat for this long, and oh well, now you've got to eat a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Why?
So it was just like abusive time.
Was it Passover or something? Wait, what the fuck is that?
Tactics like that.
Sounds kind of like binging and purging. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So
purging is when you remove the food from your body. It just sounds like binging and then not eating. But okay.
Yeah, you've mentioned quite a few people as well. You know, a few other names and aliases and stuff like that. But
aliens, what the fuck?
How many victims would you say that he probably has, you know, at this point?
With as many times as he would purge the groups and get new members and everything, it's.
What do you mean? Like, if this is a cult, like you don't just walk away from a cult. Like it sounds like a weird poly relationship.
Definitely well over 100, probably 200. Like, I don't know how many were actually
200 people in a highly abusive cult where he would sexually assault every one of the people and sexually exploit them, and you don't have any factual information from people. I'm not trying to be rude. Like, how come it's so hard to gather evidence? Like, this is the worst cult ever. So even if I understand the concept where like people are in the cult and they're brainwashed, but then they get kicked out of the supposed cult, I would imagine that they would start to lose that brainwashing. They wouldn't be as susceptible. They're not in the environment anymore. So of the 200 people, you couldn't find a solid 20 that were like, yeah, this was fucking horrible. Like, let's get together. It just doesn't really add up to me. But, okay. Cool beans.
in the worst part of it, but...
Yeah, I was part of a cult once. It was called Walmart. They let me go, though.
I know that there's a lot that have suffered because of him, and some of the survivors that we're in contact with now, like when I got into contact with one of them, she immediately had to go into therapy because she had locked it away for so long, and thankfully she's doing a lot better now. I know that there's another member that's been repressing it. There's one survivor, she's close to Ellie, but she's still mentally dealing with this, and she mentally wouldn't be able to handle doing this right now.
It's interesting because this seems to be like a very okay. So listen, there seems to be a lot of people conveniently that are dealing with this so horribly that they can't be part of the exposed story. And that could be true, but again, it seems very convenient that there's 200 people, and all the people that are would be willing to come forward, conveniently, they just aren't in the mental space to come forward, right? It's one of those things where it just seems too convenient to me that there's just so many aspects to this. Like, there's like, yeah, all these different things happen, but I can't prove it, even though there's hundreds of people that were. It's like, okay, I don't know if I believe that. Again, I could be wrong, but like, it's just what people are thinking. This seems a little far-fetched.
Unless we need her for legal reasons. So we told her, no, that is completely
Also, how do you find 200 fucking idiots that think that vampires are real? Like, I don't really get it.
fine. Like,
I know kids are dumb, but really?
we don't want to force anyone to come forward, but we want them to have community, and we want them to understand that, like, they're not alone in this. They weren't the only ones, unfortunately, but, you know, even we found each other now, and I'm really glad that we've given ourselves this little bit of community, and we've been able to help each other.
Yeah.
How many of you are there?
Yeah. I guess another question that I have and is that were any of the victims that were in this cult, were they members of like the LGBT community at all, or
why the fuck is that relevant? Were any of them gay? Should I care about them more? What?
Yes, he definitely preyed upon a lot of us in the LGBTQ community. Like, oh, well, you're bi?
Wow, this guy sounds like a right-wing conservative, dude. Now he's gone too far. Now I care. Now I believe you. He's going after the youth? The gay and trans youths? Oh, God, too far.
Okay, yeah, we want someone who's bi. Oh, this kid is trans. Yeah, let me put you on a pedestal real quick.
I just don't. I'm at a point now where I just don't believe it. Because I feel like we've done it again where this person asks a question and all of a sudden the story changes to encompass that. Oh, were there any like religious teams? Oh, yeah, you know, now that I think about it, he used to call himself Lucifer. It was one of his, that was one of his altars, whatever it's called. One of his bingles. Oh, okay. Oh, did he pray on the LGBTQ? Yeah, he was like, hey, give me a bisexual. Give me one of those transes. It's like, wow, convenient. Like, what else is there? Did he like sushi? Yeah, he was actually a huge otaku. Like, you know, wow, what the hell is it? Well, you know, I feel like at this point you could just ask any question. She'll all of a sudden conform the story to that. Was he racist? Oh, very, very racist. He hated all of them. Just ask him questions like that.
Like,
fetishization and stuff like that, and all this stereotype BS that goes with it. Yeah.
He also would fetishize. So there was a lot of.
So if it was me, I would say, because gay and trans people tend to be more vulnerable because they tend to be ostracized more, especially in southern states, which we live in. And if they ever watch that become one of like the arguments now. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, actually that's a great point. Like, yeah. But okay, the fetishization of the LGBTQ, it would be more likely that they would be vulnerable and easier to prey on. But okay,
times where God would talk through him and be like, yeah,
he was really like into God, but also he loved the gays. What the fuck? This guy sounds woke as hell. Where can I join this cult?
He has to get this member and that member pregnant, and he won't know it's his baby and everything. And then when he himself would talk to us, he would fetishize having mixed babies.
Oh my!
See, look, hey, listen, we did it. We got racism in there. How did I know? How did I fucking know? How did I call that? Oh, we got some epic racism in there, dude. We had to mix that one in. We had to get it in there. Thank you for getting it in.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, he told me that he was going to call our kids slurs.
Oh my!
And I
was me also. Oh, you know what I mean?
was like, no, the fuck, you're not.
Oh yeah. So you would you stood up to him for that, but nothing. Okay.
It also kind of backtracking a little bit with the way that he's basically kind of been depicted makes it really seem also like he definitely did have like, this God complex, almost like he was a prophet or something like that, which again is very endemic to what a lot of cult leaders do, so.
When God was talking through him, or he was talking about God, we would have to refer to him as Dad.
Oh.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, and he's made
new story element.
A little bit more of a family line. So now there's also God's mother God.
Oh God.
Like Mary? Like, what does that mean, Mother God?
Yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah,
at least he wasn't sexist, guys, because he said that Adam was actually the one that ate the apple, and there were a lot of Adams.
Yeah,
that's why they call it an Adam's apple. Okay,
just peeling the layers of the onion of crazy with that.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
So, I guess the big question I have, because you've said that a lot of the victims have been seeking their own way, their own therapy and their own like ways of coping and healing and stuff like that. How have you learned to cope with everything? Like, what's your healing process been like?
Well, at first I didn't have access to therapy, so when I fully realized what I had been through,
were you using BetterHelp?
I watched a lot of Law and Order SVU. Like, I watched it all.
Okay, great.
All the way through, like, over and over again, because
I'm thinking that that's weird, and also honestly makes sense to me. And listen, again, all this could be true. I want to give you that grain of salt for what I'm about to say, because I could be 100% wrong, right? But so you have this bad experience with this guy, and then you watch Law and Order SVU, a sensationalized, good show by the way, but a sensationalized depiction of like sexual assault, and all of a sudden you're giving us an incredibly sensationalized depiction of sexual assault. It seems convenient. It's like the people who are obsessively watch like those murder mysteries things, and all of a sudden everything becomes like super fucking scary and paranoid to them. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't know. That
for some reason it was cathartic to me, just seeing that.
I really liked Detective Stabler.
Even if these are fictional stories, these victims are still, they're dealing with it. They're going to court. They're actually watching their abusers get put away. And it helped me a lot, especially with the want to eventually put Camden away.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I
don't know if you knew this about the show. They're all police officers. I don't know if you knew that. And so what they would do is they would be police officers, and people would go to them. I don't know. It's a big plot hole in your story.
There's been many times where I've fantasized about myself on that witness stand, looking him dead in the eyes, talking about the abuse that he's inflicted upon myself and others. Because
and be like, yeah, be like, you know, you did this to me, you did this to multiple other people, you know.
Yeah.
The 200 apparently.
You know, we want
a shame that you can't even get the other people to really heavily corroborate the story with 200 victims. This guy's a serial predator by that logic.
to see you be put away, you know, for the rest of your miserable life. Yeah.
Yeah, like, especially with the fact that we know that he is still running it. Like, how many is it going to take for law enforcement to actually step in?
I think you actually have to go to the police. Mama Max admitted that you guys didn't go to the police, so or you did once, and then they said it was the wrong jurisdiction, so we just kind of stopped, because that makes sense.
Do you think that by any chance that like he has any?
Don't bring up the idea that he might have like fucking connections in the police station, please.
I don't know, connections or something to law enforcement.
Oh god, I'm gonna connect a straw into my urethra right now, is what we're gonna connect right now. Holy fuck. The only thing that I want to hear about connections is education connections. Oh my god. Bro, please don't. I hope that I actually hope at this point that she responds with like, yeah, actually I think that if she does that, I'm gonna think the story is all bullshit.
Who might be trying to cover this up, or
We've asked ourselves that.
Of course you have. Of course you asked yourselves that. Of course this person suggests something, and then all of a sudden your story shifts. Why wouldn't you have brought that up? Yeah, you know, we heavily speculate, all 200 of us, that he might have connections in the police department.
But he doesn't have money for that. Like, literally, his wives are his cash cows, as well as the one girl from Australia.
right?
Like,
what the fuck are you talking about? Australia?
He's got his cash cows, but I don't think he has resources like that. I just think that law enforcement there is incompetent, especially because when Kai was a child, she was sexually abused by a family member of hers, and them seeing the bruises and doing the medical exams on her and everything, they said, well, you can either go back and live with them until you age out, or you can go and stay at this children.
You're telling me that she was abused as a kid, and then the doctors saw it, and they were like, yeah, you're gonna have to go back and live with that person? I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that the doctors like physically confirmed that this person was sexually abused, and they're like, yeah, go back and live with the person abusing you. I could be wrong. I don't know.
It's a mental thing indefinitely. So
Yeah.
she had to go back to her abuser.
Maybe.
And
Yeah,
that's the same department that took her report about Camden and then just never contacted her again.
Yeah,
I thought you were the one that they did that to. What?
it seems like a level of incompetency, maybe even
I thought that they did it to her.
a bit of corruption that's involved within those departments.
Yeah.
This guy Camden, he's got his hooks and everything. There are vampires amongst us.
Yeah,
The night cops, vampires.
it's just and then I was kind of like, you don't have to answer it, but like, where exactly in Georgia?
Also, listen, maybe this is a little bit of a hot take. Okay, I am a little bit skeptical of people who are very telly, who are very expressive about the traumas that they've gone through. I know that might sound a little fucked up, but here's the thing. I understand expressing it sometimes, but I get a little skeptical when somebody's making YouTube channels and 4-hour-long podcasts about how they were abused. I get a little skeptical because I feel like people's relationship with their trauma is usually not as like expressive. A lot of times it's like, oh, that would just contribute to my trauma. I don't know. I could be wrong. Listen, again, or maybe they're just a brave soldier speaking up for themselves. But there's so many inconsistencies in this story. It's hard to believe.
Georgia was he living at least at the time, was like Atlanta or something like that?
At the time, he was living in a town called Lilburn.
Okay.
And now we know he's in Milledgeville, which is in Baldwin County in Georgia.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
So
So he's moved counties since then, and we have contacted his county sheriff
He moved this entire cult full of 200 people to a new county.
department, and when I spoke to them,
He's just running out of like an old apartment, like an old dusty apartment.
and we offered like,
this just doesn't sound like a cult. He sounds like he just sounds like an abusive fuckboy, which is not good if it's true. But a cult?
hey, we can email the evidence. What's an email for you? He was like, oh, well, I can't really do anything because that's not my jurisdiction, but I guess I can go case out the house.
Well, yeah, you need to stay in the right jurisdiction. Like, that's how the okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, and then told Ishmael, hey, we can't do anything because you don't have the evidence.
Wow. How horrible of them to say that.
And I mean, I may be making it sound a little bit meaner than the guy said it, but it's still really frustrating when you've got all of these people saying, hey, I was a minor when this man living in your county abused me, and he has CP and is likely trafficking people.
How is he likely trafficking people? Because again, you were 16 when he was 18. So like, what is a minor to you? Like, what is the minor 5 or is the minor like 17 and he's like 18? Like, I need a little bit more. But
yeah.
And they're not going to do anything because they don't have evidence.
yeah, what a terrible world we live in, guys. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's just that
evidence,
level of incompetence.
That's so incompetent to not do anything without evidence. It's fucking terrible. How do you not have evidence? You said there's 200 fucking people. There's no way. Not only did you say that there's 200 people, but you said that he's constantly cycling people. So how many does he keep at a time? Let's say he keeps 10 or 20 at a time. That's 180 people that were part of this supposed cult that are no longer part of it. You can't find at least 5% of those people. What is that? 9 people that to do this, and none of them have any evidence. Nobody has a text message. Nobody has a screen recording. Nobody has a voice memo. Nobody has a fucking something. This is one of those things from Harry Potter that can read your memories. Nothing like that. What?
You know, again, I don't want to bring politics or anything into it, but it's also just the general.
Dude, shut the fuck up. Stop bringing. I don't want to bring politics into this, but also white supremacy.
Lack of concern for, women's rights and stuff like
that
down there.
Women.
So, oh.
But isn't Camden Gerard Davis black? So wouldn't the police also want to catch him because they're racist? Like, how do we which social narrative are we supposed to run with here? I'm confused.
So yeah, that is just as a person kind of listening to to everything and stuff like that, and I'm sure a lot of the people watching this stream will probably agree with me that itself is a lot to take in as someone who's an outsider, looking in. But to somebody who's gone through it and everything like that, like I couldn't even imagine. I don't even think I would be able to handle it, like you and so many other survivors have, because I think that with how my mental health and capacity is, that would probably break me.
I could obviously handle it better because I'm built differently. Okay, I'm a fucking legend, and I'm actually a werewolf, so I would win in a fight against him. So I'm actually a werewolf. Okay.
So
yeah,
I'm very grateful that you're here and that you've.
I'm very grateful that I'm ugly and nobody ever wanted to molest me. Praise be the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Also, I'm 6'4", but hey, you know what? Being a tall, ugly guy saves you a lot of problems. If my advice to women is to stop being a woman if you don't want to get sexually assaulted, obviously. And also don't hang out with men because men are a lot of times they're the problem. Except for me, I'm the good one. I'm one of the good ones. Sorry if that was a little edgy. It's kind of true, though. Kind of speaking facts. Unfortunate world we live in, guys. Get a gun or something. Or pepper spray.
Made it. And
Or eat some spicy, sweet chili Doritos before a guy tries to make you do anything, and then it'll burn when you do it. And he'll be like, it burns. So I know it's inappropriate, but I'm just trying to help you out. Sorry. Or cut it off. Go for it. Do it.
That
cut
you
it off.
Continue to heal and try to, live, try to live your life as best you can after all that
So
stuff.
live your life. Yeah. Hey, yay.
Well, thank you.
Yay.
I'm really glad that I'm really glad that I was his first living with him, because I don't think.
Wait, what? You were what?
Well, thank you. I'm really glad that it was. I'm really glad that I was his first living with him.
What do you mean you were his first? I thought that there was the other girl that was his fiance.
Because I don't think anybody else would have been able to handle it.
Fuck are you talking about? I'm so confused right now. What do you mean you were his first? He had this entire vampire cult and you were the first, and then there was 200 people after you, but there was also a girl that came before you? And yeah, you said that that he brought others through the screen window of his house, but if also it was a cult, wouldn't there all be a bunch of people living in the house? Dude, come on. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I saw a lot. And I'm glad that I was at least able to start this and try to find him and try to make something happen.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I guess then the last couple of questions that I have is that
were you helping him procure the other 199 people or something? What the fuck? What the hell's happening here?
We actually talked just briefly about it before we started the stream, but obviously there's been a lot of flack that has come about this since MamaMax had initially put out the initial release of a lot of this. And there was a lot. So yeah, I do know. I guess I'll basically just say this. What do you think? What do you have to really say for people that have been saying that he's been using your story and others' stories for clout or entertainment purposes, or that he's
obviously he's used it for entertainment purposes. There's no reason to do these dumb fucking MySpace videos for these exposed videos. Just like come out and with something articulate and say, hey, these guys are bad. You don't need to make a whole fucking spectacle out of yourself. If you're spending an extra 6 or several months just trying to add to the weird spectacle of it, then like for the editing perspective, instead of getting something out short, sweet, and to the point, then like, yeah, it seems weird that you would do that.
He's been trying to bully other content creators into speaking out.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. How old is this video?
I
think this interview is 6 days old. Yeah, it's 6 days old.
Think it's absolutely ridiculous that people could sit there and say that. Like,
I mean, I could stand and say it too if you want.
Especially because they aren't on the inside of this with myself and the other survivors. They haven't.
Yeah, 199 of you. What's going on?
Had the conversations or haven't been a part of the conversations that we've had with Max.
I don't think I'd ever want to have a conversation with Max. It sounds like a dreadful experience. Actually, I think if anything, that I feel bad for the survivors of people having conversations with Max. That's the true survivor, having to sit there and listen to that.
Like, this has been very healing for us, this process, and
constant speculation in the opposite direction has been very healing for you. I don't think I agree with that. I don't think that any actual survivor or victim in this scenario would feel vindicated or feel like this was a cathartic experience at all, because you've been getting consistently like nothing but negative attention. So to me, that's just like a slight indicator that like, yeah, this might just be kind of an attention grab.
I'm really, really grateful, because if it wasn't for this, then we wouldn't be able to find these 2 other survivors, and we wouldn't know
only 2
his exact location among the things that he's recently been doing, such as the drug stuff. And we also know that he has a gun.
Oh, okay. Well, he lives in the southern states. So.
Oh, Christ.
And he...
So you were one of the first, which means you were out before he was forcing people to get drugs. How do you know he was doing that? What proof do you have?
I don't know if you heard Ellie talking about it the other night, but...
how come you guys aren't trying to set up like a decoy to get groomed by him and force them to do drugs or something? I don't know.
He like was having people case her house because they were trying to break into it.
Oh my God.
Oh.
They wanted to kill her cat. They also did kill cats.
Did they want to kill their cat, or did he want to kill her cat? You know what I'm saying, dude?
So it's only a matter of time before this becomes a Luca Magnotta situation.
Yeah.
Let him kill the cat, then you can go to the police.
Yeah.
if there isn't already a body out there.
It's
a cat body or a person's body.
Sounds to me as if basically, yeah, it's because I mean, Max even stated that he will try to change names, he will try to change locations, he will try to change the narrative, he'll try to twist things around on other people. And at this point, yeah, like any cult leader, they will escalate things if they, in order to prevent themselves from being caught.
He moved like one time. He was with his mom, and then he moved out, right? Like, what?
So
yeah, like one of the people living with him got a felony charge for, like, I think it was a smash and grab at a restaurant he worked at.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, there was guys in the cult too now? Okay. I would have also mentioned the cat dying, like, at the beginning of this tale. Hey, here's all the bad things he did. I wouldn't, like, invent it as I go on throughout the hour.
And, like, yeah, no, he's got people to do his bidding, so he's...
Like an auctioneer? I can't even do it. I can't do an auctioneer.
He's having other people commit crimes so that he's not culpable for them.
Shit, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I'm actually been watching a documentary on Hulu that is called Daughters of the Cult, and it's about the story of the
that's crazy
the kids of basically the kids of
the Kids Bop Kids. Yeah, that's a cult. I don't know if you guys knew that, but it's a fucking cult.
Avril LeBaron, who was the a Mormon fundamentalist cult leader, and did the same thing, moved around a lot, often used fake
you got to keep your exercise up,
fake names for him and his family, and resorted to blood atonement, which in Mormon tradition is, it was an old Mormon philosophy. The main Mormon church doesn't believe in it now, but the whole idea was, is that they had to kill somebody in order for their blood to hit the ground, and they would scream for atonement to God. That was so kind of a very similar situation to the whole, like, having people cut themselves and stuff, like what Camden was having you guys do. And there's a lot of things that that just kind of it all. If I didn't have heard any of this story or something like that, and had just heard about this person themselves, I would have thought this guy would have literally read from, essentially this guy's playbook, pretty much, because it does. He looks like, on the surface, he looks like he's been reading from the cult leader's playbook.
Wow, or maybe she just watched that documentary too and, like, made half of this up to make it seem like that's that person. I don't know.
Yeah,
and it's just absolute, and it really is
absolutely sickening.
Yeah, I don't even have a word for it right now. It's just absolutely incredible to me.
I was watching this show Invincible, and I saw the dad, and he beat up his kid, and I'm like, wow, that's basically like this story, because your dad also is abusive, I think, or maybe the mom was, the stepmom, I don't know, but it's basically your dad's taking the story from the Invincible playbook. Also, he's from another planet. Yeah, my dad too. He's actually an alien. He's from South America. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy.
That he is exhibiting every single sign of a cult leader and trying to wield.
I don't think that's true. But
influence not only
every single sign of a possibly abusive fuckboy
over his own flock that he's got currently, but trying to recruit new members and trying to.
Where do you see him trying to recruit new members? Like, how come you can't infiltrate that pathway? Yeah, he's trying to recruit new members. Where? Like MySpace, Instagram, Reddit? Why can't you try to get contact with him and, like, see that process and show us that process?
And trying to essentially intimidate others, and through violence and other means. It's even for those of you that have gotten out of the cult, have been trying to manipulate and intimidate you, and trying to essentially give you this kind of this fear of, I'm still watching you, like, I know where you are, sort of BS and stuff like that. And it's
what he is doing to other members still.
Yeah.
With what is he doing?
Or like previous members.
Yeah.
Yeah, like other previous 199. Yeah.
And it's
they said they're doing it on Whisper. Oh, what the fuck is? Why don't you do? Show us that. Show something from Whisper. Nobody has the messages. What is Whisper? Is there something? Is it like Snapchat or something? I don't understand.
Quite, yeah. So
yeah,
it really puts into perspective
to
people that aren't that want to criticize, you know, Max and the work that he's doing and stuff like that, when they don't realize how deep this goes. And it's not just the sexual predation that he's been, you know, that he's been carrying out against.
Thank God you can tell her what's going on here. This way she has something else to add to her story.
You know, you and several others, but it's also just the fact that this is a legitimate cult. And this is, you know, and this is somebody that needs to be stopped before, you know, it essentially escalates too far and we end up with a, you know, a miniature Waco situation.
So, yeah, or Jonestown situation. Like the fact that
Whisper is an online community where millions of people around the world share thoughts, ideas, trade advice. What? Whisper? What the fuck is Whisper? What the fuck is this? Like Reddit? Okay.
If his members can get enough money together, like we know exactly what house he's in. If his members can get more money and he gets bigger property, oh, they're screwed. Because yeah, there may be 3 women and 2 guys living at the house right now, but
that's it. There's 5 people, so there's 195 former members, and you're struggling to be able to find somebody to come forward with evidence. There's no fucking way. There's no way. There's no fucking way. There's just no way. I just don't believe that. There's upwards of 200 people altogether. 5 of them are only active, so 195 have left, and not a single one has enough evidence to put this fucking apparent cult leader away. Also, the occult wouldn't just let people leave. This doesn't make any fucking sense.
He had Ellie and her partner move out to Georgia. So who's to say he can't do that to other people? He had me run away from Texas to Georgia at 16.
Yeah,
like
crazy.
And not only that, it's not, I mean, obviously property is not as cheap as it used to be, but in
we got to get all the social narratives out there, guys.
Comparison to like what you get on the coasts of the United States, when you go into the interior and specifically into the Bible Belt, property gets cheaper, and it's not really that hard to look on Zillow and find, like, you know, properties going for, you know, cheap to either rent or buy outright, where people like this, if they get enough money together, could literally end up in a compound. There's actually one that I came across through creepy Zillow listings on TikTok, and one of them was like this.
Why?
I think it was like a.
Dude, why is this person so fucking obsessed with this type of stuff? I love watching the documentaries about cults, and I come across this creepy content on TikTok. It sounds like you're getting psyoped into thinking that everybody's a cult member.
16-bedroom like home somewhere in, you know, BFE, Texas somewhere. And it was and when you look at the pictures of this,
you're in Georgia, you'll take care of it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Where to God, it looks like something that you would have seen out of one of those Mormon fundamentalist cults or something like that. There was even a schoolhouse. There was even a schoolhouse/church within this this home.
God.
So very clearly, this.
I bet Trump was there. I bet Trump visited there, dude. These guys got to get canceled.
This was something that was used, by some sort of cult, and people like Camden, if getting enough people and enough money together,
just like them,
would be looking for places like
just
this.
Like all these 5 of these burners. Fucking stone out. It's the stoners. What the fuck am I saying? Burnout stoners. Damn, I'm tired. Fuck. I'm literally cumming my pants right now.
And especially in rural Texas or
rural Texas, especially in rural Texas.
Anywhere in the Bible.
Anywhere in the Bible Belt.
Fuck nowhere. He can get that
anywhere in the Bible Belt
where they can and.
You know, if for conservatives we got the Bible Belt. Then do we have like the binder for progressives? You know, that thing that trans people use to cover their tits, a binder. You got the Bible Belt. You got the Bible Belt. I don't know. What would you call the other one? The liberal binder? I don't know. What do liberals like a lot? Cringe? I don't know.
You know, and so it's crazy that to really think about that, and the fact that people want to criticize and say that, you know, oh, well, you're just doing this for entertainment purposes or clout or blah blah blah. Or
I mean, clearly they constantly make videos about it. It seems like it's about fucking jumps. Didn't they even say something along the lines of jump starting her career on the internet?
That, you know, and police,
The secular binder, love it. The secular binder, beautiful.
it's not taking this seriously. It's like these people are complicit in whatever happens next, because if it escalates to the point of violence, which it very much has,
it already has.
It already has. We cannot prove it. The 195 people are no longer part of the cult, and we cannot prove that they were all raped. Or not even one of them. Sorry for being so explicit. What, this doesn't make any sense.
And to the point where people are going to eventually start getting killed.
Crazy.
That's gonna
At least it's just runaways that nobody cares about anyway, right? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
That's gonna fall back on these people, and I really hope it doesn't come to that. I hope that this guy is brought to justice and is stopped before.
Yeah, it'd be help if you went to the police.
It comes to that. But even if that happens, there's my worry is honestly what a lot of cults go through, and that's brainwashing, and that's
a cult.
And in fact, I wouldn't be.
A lot of cults go through their members and let them leave too. It's crazy how crazy these cults are. They're all like, yeah, you could just come and go, no big deal.
Surprised if at this point
they get the Scientology that I forget what they do, but they try to fucking keep you forever, financially be held to them. They try to make it so that you can't leave or you're fucked for life. This guy did nothing to prevent people from leaving. That doesn't even make sense. He's a terrible cult leader. What?
Point that hasn't already happened, and while some people may be broken of that, some people still are loyal enough that they would carry it on even after the leader is gone.
The leader, Peter. Peter the leader.
I think if anything,
cult deprogramming. We've had a couple members that they had to cult deprogram themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a couple members of what? I mean, wouldn't they all be deprogrammed because they're let out of the cult? They're out of the environment. They're out of the atmosphere that keeps them attracted to it in the first place.
After leaving.
How do you just leave a cult?
So,
what does it make sense?
But yeah, I would say if honestly, the people that I think that's a good way to kind of sum it up is that these people are complicit if they don't stop and do something, and those that are trying to criticize Max for the work he's doing, that it's for clout or entertainment purposes, or that he's bullying other content creators.
Yeah.
And some of these content creators have actually literally said that, and it's one of those things where it's just you don't know what the conversation.
Guys, I'm helping children. You can't criticize me. Guys, hot take: pedophiles are bad. Sexual assault is bad. Cults are bad. Manipulation and abuse are bad. If you criticize me, you think all those things are good. So fuck you, bitch. How do you like that? What? I cummed.
That these people have been having. You don't know what these survivors have been through, and you don't. And frankly,
I'm a survivor.
They're.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the word ignorance, but their lack of action is very telling.
Yep. I basically want all these horrible bad things to happen because of my lack of action. I'm basically I'm basically fucking assaulting these people myself by not instantly agreeing to all these narratives. I'm the fucking problem, dude. I'm literally shitting and farting right now.
And that was exactly what Max was trying to say.
I don't think that's true, because I don't think he said a single coherent sentence in his fucking ramble video. It was mostly Sniper Wolf, Sniper Wolf, blah, 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 Penguin Zero, what are you doing?
In that video is that we want,
I'm better than you, blah, 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 give me attention.
Story to get out. And that's why we're trying to get other content creators to talk about it.
Yeah.
But if they're not willing to talk about it, or even go so far as to literally criticize it, then they are no different than, then they are complicit.
Yeah, they're doing the rape, basically. Moist Critical is effectively a rapist at this point. That's abusive and a cult leader. That's what this person is saying. That they're complicit and they're basically the same. Yeah, I totally agree with that. 1,000 percentiles. 1,000%. Hey guys, today we're gonna go and we're gonna abuse women. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so overtired. We're gonna go abuse women. We're gonna go dig tunnels in New York City. We're gonna use those as sex traffic women. Into my cult. The tunnel goes from New York City down to Texas, right? Oregon, Georgia. I don't know.
The ongoings of CSA and human trafficking. And so, yeah, and honestly,
We should stop calling it CSA. That sounds like a fun word. It reminds me of the YMCA. You know, just call it a sexual assault or something.
Those people, in my opinion, ought to really take a hard look in the mirror at themselves, because
no thanks, I'm ugly.
Honestly, if that was me, I would be ashamed of myself. Which is why
I've been thinking of it as everybody wants to talk crap, but nobody wants to take action. Like, my biggest thing,
You know who doesn't want to take action? Freddy Fazbear. Sorry. The police. Go to the police. Go get the evidence from the 195 people who left the cult, and take the evidence that you should have from 195 people. Go to the fucking police.
So hard for me not to just want to respond to every comment. Well, what are you doing? Well, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, what are you doing?
Genuinely.
What are you doing right now? I'm touching myself.
What are you guys doing to help the conversation? Like, you can sit there and talk crap all you want, but how is that productive? Why not actually call the county that he's in and be like, hey, have you guys seen this?
Or
why don't you do that with evidence?
Or hey, have you
children
guys
are in danger
about this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, children
and
are
that's
danger.
all it would take. It would just literally all we're asking is that people put pressure on law enforcement to actually do something and bring this person to justice. That's literally what
you have to show us. Any proof that this is happening for us to be able to even do any of that.
What we're asking.
What am I doing?
Especially people that have such wide-reaching audiences.
Kopful super chatted $2.
You know,
Max Striker more like Max Stomagotum.
Oh shit, dude, that was fucking. Oh, that was epic, dude. That was harsh. I think you're basically an assaulter, abuser at this point because you said that.
It seems like that would be a pretty simple thing to ask for, but no, they would rather, you know, quite frankly, they would rather bitch about it and start screaming, "Oh, well, they're bullying me into doing this." No, it's we're trying to get action, and it's really sad.
I bet. I don't have any trouble getting action, baby. Boom.
Sad that, you know, that people that with not as much reach are the ones that are the most willing to actually do something, and that was why.
Well, that's because nobody's. With small platforms, they don't have to worry about their credibility as much because nobody cares about them. But people like Moist Critical and some ordinary gamers have to go, I should probably verify information before I start gooning around, you know?
I had wanted to, that is one of the reasons why I reached out and why because I had watched that video and I had heard your story, and I had really wanted to.
I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think that you're a creator. Listen. I'm just saying. It's like saying us bartenders need to sit together. Meanwhile, I have no bartender license and I can't even make a drink. It's like, you know, you're not really a creator. I'm not trying to be a rude asshole, but it seems to be the people that are the least successful in this field that have the most criticisms of people in the field. I'm just saying there are things to criticize, but like, let's not pretend, you know what I mean? Like, you have to maintain credibility as a person. So for you to be like, oh, look, somebody said a thing, I'm just going to instantly verify it or validate it without any verification. That's just going to be, that's nobody's going to respect you if you do shit like that. There's nothing to signal boost because we don't have any actual, any evidence of anything going on despite 195 people. That's fucking crazy. So like, what are you supposed to do? What do you expect from people?
Have my audience know what was going on there.
Not understanding that people need evidence to me suggests that maybe you're kind of a manipulative person.
And hopefully, you know, even though I don't have like the biggest following in the world, I would certainly hope that, you know, a lot of people watching will be able to take from this and, you know, and just something simple as make a simple phone call to this county, you know, law enforcement and be like, what are you doing to stop this?
And they hang up. I'm doing this. Cling. In this scenario, it's one of those old rotary phones. Cling, you know.
See, I'm going to quote something really stupid, but Snoop Dogg in Trailer.
Okay. Snoop Dogg said, for shizzle, my friend.
Park Boys once said, see, that's why I like giving interviews to
What did you just say?
Snoop Dogg in Trailer Park Boys once said.
Of course she's going to quote fucking Trailer Park Boys. All right.
See, that's why I like giving interviews to these smaller news stations because y'all actually give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point here. I was so ready.
You just had that one ready. Huh?
Ready to do this because I was like, she gives a fuck. Her audience gives a fuck. Like, that's what we need, is we just need those ears.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm convinced.
Well, I guess the last thing I will say is that if you had any words of advice for other survivors, whether it's of Camden or of CSA and human trafficking, what would that advice be?
To take a breath, know your worth, and try to reach out to whoever you can.
I feel like we just now, I'm not trying to be an asshole. We live in a generation where everybody wants to be fucking abused. I don't know. We live in a generation where people are desperate to be victims. They want to have some kind of a trauma. They want to have some kind of an issue. So they sensationalize whatever's going on. To me, it sounds like this guy was a fuckboy and kind of an asshole that fucked a bunch of different girls that were stupid idiots that were from shitty households. I could be wrong. Maybe everything's true. It shouldn't be hard to prove it. You have 200 fucking people. You have 200 fucking people. You should be able to get evidence between those 200 fucking people. So.
And that loves you.
Well said. I think that pretty much sums it up.
She's the real cult leader, passing it off onto the autistic vampire guy. I don't know.
Alrighty. Is there anything else in particular that you would like to say other than that? As far as like your story and this whole situation that's been going on, like anything that you would like to kind of finish off with?
Not really.
Hey guys, shout out to my YouTube.
Aside from, I'm just grateful for people like you.
I'm really glad I could do my part, because honestly,
I'm glad I could do my fart.
This shit needs to stop. My partner and I see this crap happening, in all corners of the country.
You guys just watching it happen. Silence is violence, bro.
All corners of the globe and stuff like that.
I call everybody bro. I'm not transphobic. I love trans people.
Both of us have both gone to high schools where teachers, literally and figuratively get caught with their pants down.
Damn, I wish my one teacher, Miss Dorsa, did that to me. I know that I say that now, and if it actually happened, I'd be traumatized. But I don't know if I've told you this story about my teacher that I had a crush on in the 9th grade English class. What the fuck? I want to see if I can find her
and
stalk her a little bit. Kidding.
It's just one of those things that we say all the time. It's like, why can't people just leave kids alone?
Exactly, dude. That's what I'm saying. Stop making me have to study, bro.
And I think and it's one of those things that, like I said before we started the stream, I worry about people like my sister, who's not even a teenager yet, and people like your sister who are still really young.
She's a sister? What the fuck? She told us that, didn't she?
And what world they're growing up in, because the world was already a dangerous place when I was going to high school, and that was like 16 years ago, 12, 14 years ago, something like that, because I'm getting old. And it's like, it was a dangerous place to be just 5 years ago, and it's growing ever more dangerous.
And the gun violence too. It's so crazy.
Now, and especially in the online world with how people incels, are, dude. It's it's not just predators, but it's also people who are, who just have nothing to do but to criticize and try to point fingers, at everybody,
because that hasn't existed ever before.
Else but the predators.
Yeah, so, I love running defense for predators.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I want to thank you for coming on. Thank you.
I don't know, man. It's a little weird that you got a guy that's constantly like virtue signaling about poor individuals, calling an age gap of 3 years pedophilia from that whatever Mink Sator guy. Going on and on all that bullshit, and then he moves a supposed victim of a cult atmosphere into his house that of somebody that would be emotionally vulnerable, and then uses them for content. I don't know, dude. It sounds like a boundary that should be crossed.
Spencer, and for everybody that has been watching this stream, the name of this guy that we've been fighting to put away for the rest of his miserable life is Camden Gerard Davis.
Okay.
And what was the town you said that he lived in Georgia? Milledgeburg or something?
Oh my god.
Milledgeville right now.
Milledgeville. So Milledgeville, Georgia.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I hope this guy sues the fuck out of all of you guys and wins. And then I hope he's able to buy a compound and groom more people. I'm just kidding.
Anybody out there watching can just even do something as simple as make a phone call and try to put pressure on law enforcement.
No thanks.
You know, right now there's 6 people right now currently watching this who
wow, 6
stuck towards the end here.
It's fucking crazy.
So it's like, you know, even if it's just 3 people, even if it's all 6, even if it's, you know, as this starts to garner views and stuff in the next coming days, if it's just even a fraction of those people that could just reach out and be a few more voices to put pressure on police, it's one of those things where the one good thing I will say about my ex is that her parents had a saying about a squeaky wheel. And it's one of those things where it's like, be that squeaky wheel, because you annoy them long enough, they will have to do something.
Yeah, they're gonna get rid of you. Your squeaky wheel. They're gonna be like, I gotta get a new wheel. These wheels are annoying the shit out of me.
And that's what we need to do. And then
I would specifically
more like what you need to poo.
say put pressure on Baldwin County's sheriff's department, because the Milledgeville Police Department, they say that that's not their jurisdiction.
So why don't you call that other police department?
You have to go through the county for this.
So then why didn't you do that?
Yeah. So yeah, call the county sheriff, and I will.
My understanding of the whole entire story, from what Max said, I believe I remember him saying this, was that like they went to the police, but they said it wasn't their jurisdiction, and then they just didn't go to the police again after that. Go to the police, you silly goose.
Actually, I will actually end up Googling their number here. What did you say the county was?
Baldwin County in
Well, why would you have to Google it? This person should have it
Georgia, because there's one in Alabama and Georgia.
Alabama.
Okay.
Alabama.
And then I will look up the sheriff's department that's there and provide the number for everybody in the description box, so that way they can that way people can call, and you know, just something as simple as, what are you guys doing to render this situation?
Yo, you picked your name to be Nicole and you spelled it like shit.
Because this guy
Nikole. Come on, why would you do that? Just be. What are you doing?
Behind bars a long time ago.
Might as well name yourself Keith at that point.
Yeah.
A C.
Well, like I said, I want to again say thank you for coming on, and thank you everybody. For watching.
Everybody was coming.
I'm Red Pagan Nicole, and this has been a special live broadcast of Red Pagan Corner.
Fast as lightning.
Until next time.
Wow, amazing video. We got to catch this cult guy. He's a bad person, and he's not good.